It's been a while since I posted a video, so let's catch up a little bit. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Fallon. I am 34 years old and I make bookish content here on YouTube. I've been MIA for about a month, so in this video we're gonna catch up a bit. I want to tell you about what I've been reading, what I've been doing, and all about a day trip that I took to New York just a little bit ago. I'm just inserting a clip here of me saying I apologize for the noise in the background that you might hear. It's summertime, it's hot. I don't have the air conditioner on in the living room where I'm filming, but I do have it on in the bedrooms just to try to keep it nice and cool. So I hope that that's not too distracting, and if it is, I'm sorry. So clearly I did not post in June. Admittedly, June was a rough month for me. It was just a rough month mental health wise, and then my son's school year ended. So we had this like transition time of going from like the school schedule to the summer schedule, and I never found the time or the energy to sit down and film. It's how it was. But that being said, I am feeling much better, and we've got a really good routine and a really good schedule down now. So I feel better about having the time necessary to sit down and film videos and edit them and post them and all of that. And hopefully that means that I will be able to put out more consistent content for you guys, because I really was enjoying that and I want to get back to that really badly. I took a small day trip to New York the other day, and I did intend to vlog that trip, but it was so ungodly hot that I just did not pick up the camera. Basically, me and my niece, she is 17 years old, we have for the last few years been like every 3 to 6 months we'll take the train up to New York and we will just wander around. It's just been this thing that we started doing, and it's slowly become our thing, and we really enjoy doing it together. Admittedly, we've basically agreed and come to the conclusion that like no more will we be going in the summer. It's just too hot. Like, I mean, we were not even there for an hour and already melting. Like, I had sweat through the shirt that I was wearing. That's how hot it was. But we did manage to hit up 2 bookstores, the Strand and then the 4-story Barnes & Noble across from Union Square. We went to the Strand first. It's nice. And I love the Strand. It reminds me of like a mix between an old bookstore and an old library. I think it's the way that they have like the books set up and like the sections labeled and stuff. But they also have such like old books, and like they even have like a case of like books that you weren't allowed to touch, and one of them said like vampire, and I was like, oh God, I want that. I wish I could have that book. But I really do love the Strand. I actually ended up buying a shirt from there because I was so hot. And this was like our first stop. We got off the train, got onto the subway, and then went to the Strand. And by the time I got there, I was so hot. I was like, you know what? I gotta buy a t-shirt. I gotta change out of the shirt that I'm wearing and put on a new shirt because I'm so hot. I couldn't do it. It was so bad. But I really did have a good time at the Strand. After that, we went to Barnes & Noble's, which thankfully was not very far. We were able to it was a short walk. Oh, it feels beautiful in here. And we admittedly spent a good amount of time in the Barnes & Noble, just trying to escape the heat. Just taking full advantage of the air conditioning that was there. I mean, either way, I absolutely loved it. It's 4 floors, and on the 3rd floor they have like a cafe. So we got drinks and then we wandered around. I love this Barnes & Noble, but the one thing that I noticed this time that I don't think I've ever paid attention to before is that they don't have a lot of bookshelves. Like, it's just like when you first walk in, they have shelves along all the walls on every floor. They have like really tall shelves along all of the walls.
It's to take away my boring.
Same. but it's a lot of tables with books on them. And I don't know, I feel like with a building that big, they could utilize the space a little bit better. They could put more shelves, and the ones that they do have are pretty short.
Oh my god, do you remember
A red Heartstopper.
No, do you remember when we came in?
They had the bedroom set up, yep.
Yeah, that was so good.
It was.
Sorry, I didn't mean to fuck up the wall.
No, you're good. So, I don't know, weird thing to complain about or nitpick about, but it was just something that I noticed this, you know, I don't know, it's just something that I noticed. And also, I know that there are plenty of other like bookstores in New York that I should be and could be visiting, and I will get there, but that day was just not the day for it. I did get some footage, and I'll let you guys see that, as obviously as I'm talking you guys have seen that, but I didn't get nearly enough for the vlog that I wanted to vlog. Maybe another time. I would like to go back around November, which is right around my birthday, when it's like not cold and not hot and it's like fall time. I think that would be the opportune time. We usually go like in we go around Christmas, and then we'll go like in the spring and then in the summer, but I just think we can't do the summertime no more. Now, obviously, since this is a catch-up video, I'm gonna catch you up on the book series that has been consuming my life for the last month. I am well aware that at the time of filming this, we are only 11 days into July, but I have already read 4 books, and 3 of them are all of the same series. The series in question is the Flesh and Fire series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. About 3 years ago, I guess, I read the first 2 books in the Blood and Ash series, which are From Blood and Ash and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. And I remember really enjoying them. Like, I remember really enjoying reading them. And I must have, because I then purchased the physical copy of A Crown of Gilded Bones. In fact, this is the only physical copy I have of that series, but I never read this. I don't remember why. I don't know if it's that the time between reading the second book and then getting this book was just too great or what, but I never read it. And it's the only physical copy that I have. I wish that I could remember why I went from reading the first 2 books on my phone to then buying the physical copy of the second book, which, like, Jesus, this thing is huge. And this obviously was back when you could get the paperbacks in store, unless I ordered it online. I don't know, I have no memory of it. Anyway, the Flesh and Fire series is a prequel to the Blood and Ash series, and if there's one thing you need to know about me, it's that I love a good prequel. Like, I am eating up House of the Dragon right now. I love a fantasy romance or a fantasy that has like a long drawn out history, where there's a prequel and then maybe even a series after that, where there's a lot of lore. And I have just been eating these books up. The first 2 books in the series of the Flesh and Fire series are A Shadow in the Ember and then A Light in the Flame, and I flew through them. I am now about, I think maybe like 30% into A Fire in the Flesh. There's a 4th book that comes out that is called Born of Blood and Ash, but it doesn't come out until August, and I will definitely finish this before that comes out. So I'm then just gonna jump back to the Blood and Ash series, and I'm gonna reread the first 2 books, because I remember some things, like as I'm reading through this, it's jogging my memory. But this series takes place like decades before Blood and Ash.
Hi, this is a brief awkward interruption to tell you that I said that Fire and Flesh takes place decades before Blood and Ash, but it's more like hundreds of years, possibly thousands. I actually don't know. I just started from Blood and Ash, and it's really not made clear. I know it's more than 400 years, so yeah, I was way off base with like decades.
So I believe the characters in this book are the grandparents of the main character in Blood and Ash. It's a lot to keep up with, but I'm gonna reread the first 2 books, and then obviously I have the 3rd book, and then I think that series consists of 4 or 5 books. I don't know. Either way, I'm like obsessed. I don't really see myself falling out of that obsession anytime soon. I might need to take like a slight palate cleanser between this series and the next one, and if that's the case, I have a couple romance novels like on deck for that, but I really don't think so. I think I'm just going to be hopping from this book right into From Blood and Ash. Now, while I did not buy any books while I was in New York, mostly because I didn't want to carry them around with me, it was just too freaking hot, I did spend the first part of my 4th of July wandering around my local Barnes & Nobles. Now, I went there originally to buy the first 3 books in the Flesh and Fire series. But Barnes & Nobles didn't have any Jennifer L. Armentrout book that was in softcover. They were, or paperback I should say. They were all hardcover, and I can't rationalize paying $30 to $35 per book when I want to buy the whole series eventually. Like when I want to own the whole series. I just can't. It's just too much. It's far too expensive. So if I really want the paperbacks, which I do, I will eventually get them, I'm gonna have to order them online and just be done with it. It is what it is. That being said, I did end up getting 3 books, as you can see here. 3 books. So the first one is A Dawn of Onyx. This was super duper recommended to me by a friend, and I think 2 friends actually. And I don't really know much about it, if I'm being very honest. I just know that it's a fantasy romance, and it's an epic, and it's the first in a series, and I love that. So, and the book is absolutely gorgeous, and it was buy one, get one 50% off. So the second one, look at this book, Dragonfall. Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. The back says, long ago, humans betrayed dragons, stealing their magic and banishing them to a dying world. Centuries later, their descendants worship dragons as gods, but the gods remember and they do not forgive. And this sounds incredible. It really does sound good. And it's, I mean, look at these edges. Look at this book. This book is so gorgeous. I've also sort of been on this like dragon kick with House of the Dragon, and then I read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame back to back. Can't wait till January. Cannot wait until Onyx Storm comes out. I just can't wait. Anyway, I've been a bit on a dragon kick, so all books that have like a dragon on them, they've caught my eye. But just like, look at this. It's so pretty. The third book that I bought was the first in the Plated Prisoners series by Raven Kennedy. Look at this. This is so gorgeous. I just love it. This is the story of King Midas. It's like a King Midas retelling. And while I was there that day, I like bought a muffin and I sat down in the cafe and I read the first chapter, and looks good. I'm very excited. I think that when I'm done with Blood and Ash, I'm probably gonna jump into this series. I've been bit by the fantasy romance bug, if you can tell, which comes and goes for me. Sometimes I'm really into fantasy romance, and then other times I can't read it at all. But it's gotta be a good series. Like it has to be good. And I've heard a lot of good things about this one too, so. But that is pretty much it, guys. Like this video was a little crazy and a little bit all over the place, but it is what it is. Like I said, my schedule now is a little bit more structured, and I will be doing my best to try to find the time to film and put out content a little bit more consistently. My next video after this one is going to be my second quarter wrap up. So all the books that I read from all the books I read from April to June, that will probably come out about a week after this one. I think so, yeah. And there's like 16 books to get through, so that's gonna be a decently long video. But if you like this video and you wanna see more content like this from me, then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, maybe share this video with somebody else you know that loves reading or watching people that read talk about it here on YouTube. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.